1979 was a landmark year for horror cinema. Films like Alien, Nosferatu the Vampire, The Brood and Phantasm all hit screens around the world, each leaving a lasting impact on the genre. Yet among them stands one film that has not only endured but grown significantly in reputation over time, ZOMBI 2, also known as Zombie or Zombie Flesh Eaters, directed by Lucio Fulci. So let's take a look at this quintessential video nasty. The story follows a journalist, Peter West, and a young woman, Anne Bowles, searching for answers about her missing father. The investigation takes them from New York City to the remote Caribbean island of Matul. Along the way they encounter flesh-eating zombies and a desperate doctor, Dr. Bernard, played by Richard Johnson, who is struggling to contain a mysterious outbreak devastating the local population. As the group becomes increasingly overwhelmed by the undead, the film builds towards a relentless and unforgettable climax. Released in the wake of Dawn of the Dead, ZOMBI 2 was Italy's response to Romero's growing influence. Originally conceived as a more traditional adventure film, it was quickly reworked into an unofficial follow-up to Dawn after the success of its European release, retitled Zombie. The project initially involved Enzo G. Castorelli, who ultimately stepped aside, but not before recommending the perfect replacement, Fulci himself. With Fulci directing, Fabio Frizzi composing the score, Giannetti De Rossi handling effects, and Adriano Sacchetti co-writing the script alongside Elisa Brigante, all the right pieces fell into place, and the horror legend was born. So let's take a more in-depth look at this killer's row of remarkable people who brought this project to life. Fulci, born in Rome in 1927, brought over 2 decades of filmmaking experience to this project, having worked across multiple genres, from comedies to westerns. He had already proven his versatility, but it was in horror that he truly cemented his legacy. Today, Fulci remains one of the most celebrated figures in the genre, with a devoted fan base and a body of work that continues to influence filmmakers around the world. His direction in ZOMBI 2 delivers a distinct, uncompromising vision that few others could replicate. The film's score, composed by Fabio Frizzi, is equally iconic, haunting, atmospheric and instantly recognisable. It perfectly complements the film's nightmarish imagery. The main theme in particular strikes a balance between beauty and dread, a piece of music that lingers long after the film has ended. Visually, the film is stunning. Cinematographer Sergio Savati, a frequent collaborator of Fulci, crafts a dreamlike yet oppressive atmosphere, from wide sun-drenched landscapes to claustrophobic close-ups. Every frame is meticulously composed. The imagery of zombies emerging from the earth or appearing as distant, barely visible figures create a constant sense of unease. It's a film that demands your attention visually, one of the most strikingly shot horror films of its era. Adriano Sacchetti's screenplay also deserves recognition. Drawing inspiration from earlier works such as White Zombie and I Walked with a Zombie, the film incorporates elements of voodoo mythology alongside Romero-style flesh-eating ghouls. This fusion gives ZOMBI 2 its own identity. Rather than simply imitating what came before, Adriano is a force to be reckoned with when it comes to Italian genre cinema. Having worked with practically everyone in the business, he's a true unsung hero of that very special run of classics. Giannetti De Rossi's special effects work is nothing short of groundbreaking for its time. The zombies themselves are among the most iconic ever put to screen. Decayed, grotesque and horrifyingly tactile. Using layered prosthetics and detailed makeup, De Rossi created creatures that feel disturbingly real, elevating the film's visceral impact. The cast is equally noteworthy. Ian McCulloch, Tisa Farrow and Richard Johnson lead the film with strong, grounded performances, supported by familiar faces such as Al Cliver, Loretta Gay and Dakar. Each brings a distinct presence and energy to this international romp in the jungle. Over time, Zombie 2 has only grown in stature. Once circulated on worn VHS tapes, it is now widely available in 4K and high-quality restorations, allowing new audiences to fully appreciate its craft. From its haunting opening, an abandoned boat drifting into the New York harbour, to its apocalyptic closing moments, the film remains a powerful piece of horror cinema. What began as a blatant cash-in on Dawn of the Dead has in many ways transcended its origins. For some, it stands as the ultimate zombie film, and I know there are people watching this video in which Zombie 2 is the ultimate zombie experience. And even though I'm firmly in the Dawn of the Dead camp, there is absolutely no denying the importance and craftsmanship involved with Zombie 2. It is my favourite Lucio Fulci movie, and that's no easy feat. For me, it's the perfect companion piece to Dawn of the Dead. Also, Zombie 2, more so than the Romero movies, inspired a whole slew of cheaply made yet incredibly beloved Italian zombie movies to follow, and is still highly influential decades later. Not bad for a shameless rip-off, eh? A few standout moments deserve special mention. The slow, deliberate tracking shot of a zombie moving through the town, a masterclass in atmosphere. The infamous splinter in the eye sequence, still one of the most shocking practical effects ever filmed. The legendary zombie versus shark encounter, as bizarre as it sounds and completely unforgettable. The graveyard sequence featuring the emergence of the iconic worm-faced poster zombie, a defining image of the genre. And speaking of worm-face, I need to spend a moment discussing this very special zombie. From the moment he rises from the earth, his design is unforgettable. The decayed, worm-ridden makeup is both repulsive and fascinating, a perfect example of practical effects at their absolute peak. It's an image that lingers long after viewing, and one that has rightfully become synonymous with the film itself. Also, using him for the poster art was a stroke of genius. Seeing that thing being advertised must have done a lot of the heavy lifting in ticket sales for the time. In fact, he's not just one of the best Italian zombies, he may well be the greatest zombie in all of cinema. A few quick pieces of trivia. Ian McCulloch was cast after his performance in the TV series Survivors. Guillermo del Toro has frequently cited the film as a major influence on him. The 2011 video game Dead Island draws clear inspiration from its tropical zombie setting, and Shinji Mikami has acknowledged the film as a key influence on the Resident Evil series. In closing, Zombie 2 deserves every bit of praise it receives. It is a masterfully crafted piece of Italian horror, uncompromising, atmospheric, and deeply influential. For many, it represents the pinnacle of zombie cinema, and I could personally gush over this movie for hours. I absolutely adore it, and always look forward to the next viewing. And if you haven't seen it yet, you better rectify that wrong, because if not, we are going to eat you. Right, here's the big one. Doing things a little bit differently this week, just because, the nature of the film. Obviously, a big important film in Fulci's filmography, and also for me in general, being one of my absolute favourites, my favourite Lucio Fulci movie. So I wanted to do something a little bit special for this one in particular. As you can see, the backdrop is all zombie flesh eaters, which is great to see. Got the Trick or Treat Studios mask, got a little pin badge, the Death Waltz vinyl, and obviously the Ebon Press comic set. So instead of just talking about one physical media release of zombie flesh eaters, I'm going to be talking about all of the different copies and variations from different labels, different countries, DVDs, Blu-rays, 4Ks, and going to go through them one by one, hopefully in somewhat of a chronological order in terms of release date, but it might be slightly out. But yeah, let's get into it because it's going to be quite a long one, I think. So first up, we have this DVD from 1998, Anchor Bay. I believe this is probably my earliest memory of a Zombie 2, Zombie Flesh Eaters release. I remember my dad had this in his collection and just seeing that cover and at the perfect age, just being intrigued but terrified by it. I mean, you know, there is no better zombie, in my opinion, than this zombie. And it was a stroke of genius for the American and Italian market to use it as advertisement. Again, you wouldn't see something like that used as a poster for a film today, you know, which is sad. But I think, yeah, seeing this, like I said, at the perfect age was just, I was so drawn into it. So again, this is probably the release that I first witnessed zombie. And yeah, like I said, from 1998, it's an early one. Anchor Bay, I mean, that sailboat logo is just so nostalgic for me and for a lot of people. So, you know, I'm really pleased to have this in the collection. You know, a few extras, nothing major. We got an audio commentary with actor Ian McCulloch and the editor of Diabolic magazine, Jason J. Slater. Theatrical trailer, television and radio spots. That's it. But again, you know, this is 1998. Nice disc art there. And again, this is quite cool as well. I believe the German poster of the film, Voodoo. Again, great image. I don't think Zombie has had a bad poster. So yeah, this is just, like I said, love it. Love it. That's the first one. Next up, let's see what the British were doing. Sadly, not in the same league as what the Americans were doing. Not sure what year this is because there's no release date on the case, but I imagine it's quite early. Again, you know, we went for a phase of just bold title and black. That was it. No cover art, no image. The Dead of Night collection, Lucio Fulci Zombie Flesh Eaters. There's the spine, a few images on the back, which is nice. Special features include interactive animated menu, you know, which is what a treat. Director's filmography, theatrical trailer, actor's filmography, film flash, scene index. It's region free, so a few things, but nothing major. Just basic, no insert. So sadly not one of the better releases, but it is what it is. Now, going in with the next two, sticking in Britain, we have these two editions. Slight variation on the colour. I believe that's the only difference, but using the original Vitco artwork, which is nice. There's the spines, one black, one red. Includes material banned since 1983. So check on the back, Stone Vision Entertainment. which I believe released the last edition as well, to be fair. But again, it's the exact same special features, almost identical in terms of cover design as well. There's the disc art, slight difference in the disc art, which is nice. No inserts, again basic, but you know, that's what we had. Then going into this one, back to the States, iconic cover art, Lucio Fulci collection, Anchor Bay once again, and this is from 2002, so a few years later. The special features are exactly the same as the original release, so I imagine this is just, you know, an updated DVD release. I don't think anything's different. Nice cover art, again that same German use of the poster for the insert, but this time it actually opens up and we've got a write-up by Michael Fauscher, Lucio and the Living Dead, which is quite nice. Again, for 2002, it's not like what we expect today with these big glorious Blu-ray and 4K releases, so that's a bonus. Next up is a big one from Shriek Show. We have Zombie 2, the 25th anniversary special edition from the States as well. And what I quite like about this one is that it actually uses the Italian title Zombie 2, which is nice. And Shriek Show were quite notorious, I think. They entered the Blu-ray game, but I don't think they lasted long. And they were quite bare bone releases. You got a lot of box sets. I remember seeing the like zombie box sets with Zombie 3, 4 and 5. They released Anthro in this kind of edition as well, which is quite nice. But this is a big one because the effort has really been put into this, and it shows. Like I said, just overall the packaging is really nice. A nice foil look up there, slip cover as well, which again I believe this is mid 2000s. Again, obviously for the 25th anniversary, but you didn't really see slip covers back then, so it's nice. There's the cover up, and we got quite a few special features with this one, and this is quite an essential release even to this day, because I believe there's extras on there that have never been ported to any other release, so definitely worth grabbing, and you can get it quite cheap. Is regionado, so just keep that in mind. But special features, we got exclusive 98-minute featurette including blood-drenched testimonials from SFX artist Giannetti De Rossi, cinematographer Sergio Savati, and screenwriter Dardano Sacchetti, cast and crew interviews, actor Ian McCulloch commentary, extensive photo gallery, and original assorted zombie trailers. Film presented in 5.1 digital surround sound. So good release, 2-disc. Yeah, nice release. This did originally come with a poster, which I'm gonna have to track down another release because mine doesn't, sadly. But it's off the original Italian cover art, I think, the poster, which is nice. There's a few other releases from Shriek Show. Yeah, just a really nice release. And I remember thinking around the same time they did the Dawn of the Dead full disc ultimate edition, Anchor Bay, and I still have that release, and in my opinion, it's the greatest DVD release for a single film ever. I mean, it's absolutely stacked. I think that Dawn of the Dead release is the blueprint for everything we get now, and that was from 2004. So I mean, you know, it's nice to see that Zombie 2 had a similar edition, considering the two films are so linked in ways. But here's Blue Underground's first venture into zombie. Really striking cover art, very colourful variation on the Italian poster. I believe it's the Italian poster, I might be wrong, but there's the spine from 2004. Special features included theatrical trailers, TV spots, radio spots, poster and still galleries, Lucio Fulci bio. So nothing crazy, but again, it's a really nice release. I believe the transfer is really good on this one as well. We have a little insert there for Blue Underground. Just wall-to-wall bangers. Contamination, Bone, Contraband, some Christopher Lee stuff, which is great. There's the back, the Mondo Cane collection, which is highly sought after. I would love to do a film on Mondos in general, but even this box set would make for a great series, so I might have to do that. But yeah, incredible box set, incredible releases as well. I mean, just loads. Fight for Your Life. I'd love to see that get a Blu-ray release. I know there's difficulties with the actual film prints, but yeah, that needs a Blu-ray. Yeah, just tons of stuff. Blue Underground were killing it. Dead and Buried, one of my favourites. So, a solid release by Blue Underground. Next up, I think this is 2009. Back to the UK. Again, sadly, we really didn't nail the assignment when it came to Zombie Flesh Eaters over here. Again, I believe this is, well, it says Cornerstone, but I believe it's pretty much identical to the previous UK releases. But with this one, what's interesting is you get Zombie Flesh Eaters 1, 2 and 3 and Zombie Holocaust as a bonus disc, which is nice. There's the spine. There's the back. Again, 2009. I mean, look at what the Americans were doing in the mid-2000s. And this is what we were doing. But there you go. There's the cover arts. Nothing special. Picked that up dirt cheap. I think it was £5, brand new. Wanted to add it to the collection. But the last DVD, and this is from 2012, and we really did nail it this time, is the Arrow Video DVD for Zombie Flesh Eaters. Just a yeah, stacked release. So glad that Arrow picked this up. It was at a pivotal time as well, I believe. You know, they just coming off the kind of heels of the window boxes and, you know, kind of going into a new style of packaging and presentation. And what a film to kind of kickstart that new era for Arrow Video. Just loaded with special features, interviews, commentaries, essays, everything. Loads of new extras as well. But yeah, just a stacked release. 2 disc. Get a booklet as well. Pretty thick booklet. I believe it came with a poster as well. But yeah, solid release. And that's the end for the DVDs. But next up, we're on to the Blu-rays. And the first Blu-ray, going back a year to 2011, is Blue Underground's 2-disc Ultimate Edition for Zombie. I remember when my dad was just getting into kind of Blu-ray collecting and kind of transferring from DVD to Blu-ray, and this was a big one. I remember this kind of being an event in the household. You know, just a solid release for 2011 as well. I mean, you know, they really knocked out of the park with this one. Tons of new features, archival stuff. The transfer is really solid, especially for the time. Nice slip box, slip cover, slightly embossed as well, which is nice. Yeah, just a great release. From Blue Underground. Again, you can pick up a lot of these Blu-ray releases quite cheap still, so if you're after any, just look online. I've picked up a lot of these quite cheap over the years. Next up is the standard one disc release from Blue Underground. Came out a year later. Just the iconic American cover art. Don't get the second disc with this, so the extras are a little bit lacking, but it's still nice for a budget release. Again, it's always good to have more zombie. Next, it's a big one. It's the Arrow Video iconic slip box, window box version. Yeah, I mean, this one was, I believe this is the last window box they put out. I think it's limited to 500. And at the time, this is what you were getting when you would get an Arrow Blu-ray, was the, you know, the famous window box edition. And, you know, for what it is, I think, you know, people, they either love it or they hate it. I remember being quite indifferent with it. I mean, when you've got a group of them together on the shelf, it does look quite nice. But I'm really not a fan of, you know, this white border around it. I want the cover art front and center, and for it to take up the whole space and to, you know, nice wraparound. And like I said, this is just what they were. This is what they were doing. So I mean, it's a nice release, and like I said, for the last version of the window box, I'm so glad this Zombie Flesh Eaters got the crown for that. Yeah, limited to 500. The idea was that each side of the cover was a different artwork that you could display through the window. The American artwork, again, like I said, the Italian artwork. I won't take out the disc, but it's the UK quad artwork, just very downscaled in terms of size. And then the newly commissioned Graham Humphreys artwork, you get the booklet from the DVD, and you get a double-sided poster of the iconic British quad, and then the newly commissioned artwork. No, I think it's actually the American artwork. So that's quite nice, because if I'm being honest, even though the British artwork is iconic, and it's one of the best, I do prefer the American cover. Like I said, it could be because that was the first cover art I was exposed to, but I just think it's straight to the point. You know what you're getting when you see that cover. Again, the title Zombie is just, yeah, perfect for this movie. Next up, sticking with Arrow Video, and again, I should say the transfer is stunning. I remember seeing this when this steelbook came out, I believe in 2014. Well, 2012 actually. So I remember when this came out, and my dad got this, and this was an event. Even though we just had the Blue Underground one, steelbooks were still fairly new. I mean, there was DVDs that were steelbooks, but to get a package like this, newly commissioned artwork, 2 discs, booklet, poster, extras, new transfer, I mean, it was just stunning. And this, to this day, is my favourite steelbook. Just absolutely loved the artwork, the orange. It's just, I don't think it's been topped in terms of steelbooks. This one is still sealed. I was lucky enough to get this sealed for a good price a few years back. I put it in like a protector and stuff, but yeah, not been opened. Yeah, one of my absolute grails in my collection. Just love it. Like I said, for me, it's not been bettered. So, Zombie Fleshy is steelbook. Next, we have a funny one. So, probably thinking Vipco never released this on Blu-ray, and that is correct. But this is the Arrow Video standard Blu-ray, which is a really nice release. Again, they've definitely nailed the cover this time around, with it taking up the whole page. 2014, so 2 years after the steelbook. Like I said, this was their like common release, 2 disc. Again, you get the booklet, poster. So I probably own that same booklet about 4 times now, but this was, yeah, a great release. And this slipcover I picked up from eBay, from someone who does like custom slipcovers in the style of like, you know, older cover arts and stuff like that. And again, this is no great cover, but for me this is really nostalgic. No, they never released Zombie Fleshy is in this, you know, the infamous gold on black. They released Zombie Fleshy as 2 and 3 like this, but Vipco didn't release Zombie Fleshy is like this. But for me, it's just the ultimate representation of that era of physical media. I mean, for me, growing up, this was my Arrow, in a sense. I mean, Vipco was everywhere. They were kind of, for good or bad, they were the UK's leading, you know, DVD company when it came to these types of films. So when I saw this, I had to grab it. Like I said, it's just a fun throwback to that era. And thankfully, we've got past it. But, you know, like I said, I have a lot of nostalgia for that time period. And yeah, this is a really high quality custom slipcover. Fits perfectly. Feels solid. And yeah, like I said, just a lot of fun. And like I said, I've got so many Arrow editions of the film that I wanted to change it up a little bit. Next, we have quite a big one. The Blue Underground 3-discer, new 4K restoration. They released this in 3 different variants of covers, with that kind of holographic. There you go. This was the one I got. Iconic scene from the movie. The other 2 are a scene of the zombies on the bridge at the end and an image of Wormface. But I think, in my opinion, this is the best one. But yeah, this was a great release. Great release. I think this came out in 2018. So, you know, it's I remember when this, you know, came out, and this was like, oh my god. But we're almost 10 years removed from this release now, which is crazy. But yeah, got a few new extras, new audio commentary with Troy Howarth, and a new interview with Stephen Thrower, which is great. Like I said, new 4K restoration for the 40th anniversary. Slipcover, classic cover art there. Open it up. 3-discer. And what's special about this release is you get the CD soundtrack, which is still the only release to include it, which is essential because it's one of the greatest soundtracks of all time. So yeah, really happy to have that. Advertisement for the Ebon Press Maniac and Zombie comics, and then quite a thick booklet for the film, which is nice. I believe, let's have a look, by Stephen Thrower, of course, which again, if you know his work, he knows what he's talking about. Iconic Fangoria issue, which I do own somewhere. I tried to find it for this release, but I couldn't locate it, so sadly it's not on display, but I do have that. But yeah, solid release. Next up is our first 4K release of Zombie. Just, yeah, this was a big one. I remember just getting into 4K at the time, and you know, going in with the mindset of just upgrading the favourites, and obviously this was essential. This was 2020. Yeah, 2020. Like I said, iconic cover art. I couldn't have chose better for the slipcover. Same extras as the 3-disc Blue Underground. Slightly embossed as well, which is nice. But like I said, the big selling point is obviously this is 4K. 2-disc. And it's stunning as well. The transfer is stunning on this. For a long time, this was the best 4K I owned. It probably, you know, somewhat is. But yeah, great release. It's quite sought after as well, especially with the slipcover. But now we've got this release, which came out last year. You can pick up the Blue Underground 4K for a lot cheaper now. But yeah, the ultimate release, perhaps, in a lot of ways. The Arrow Video 4K, brand new, big box that they've been doing, new cover art, ton of extras, archival. I believe I think there's a few new extras on there as well. Like I said, a lot of it is from what they've already done with previous releases. But yeah, just stunning. This is still sealed. So I didn't watch it with that release, but I did watch the movie for this review with this release. This is perhaps the ultimate. Again, that cover art is iconic, especially for the UK fans. Zombie Flesh Eaters, yeah, just perfect. They've nailed it with this one. Nice wraparound box, strong uncut version sticker, which is iconic for the movie. There's the spine. Like I said, 4K Ultra HD limited edition, and this was a part of their website, and this went out quite quick. I believe it's quite expensive now on the aftermarket, so I even think the standard one is quite expensive now. They have released it since singly, which you can get quite cheap, but yeah, this was a huge release. Everyone wanted it from Arrow, and especially since they did City of Living Dead and the Beyond like this, not the Beyond, House by Cemetery. Like I said, this was a big one. There's the alternative cover art, which was used for the other box. It's really nice. Open it up. Got the Italian poster. And again, the alternative is similar to the outer box with the purple. It's like a little montage of scenes from the film, which is nice. Big booklet. Again, just the amount of booklets that have been produced just for this one film is incredible. But yeah, nice booklet. Double-sided poster with the Italian Zombie 2. And like I said, with the new Splinter through the eye artwork. 4K. Love that cover art. I'm glad the Italian poster art has got some love for the physical media release. Open it up. One disc. And some postcards from the movie. Yeah, just the ultimate release. I mean, the problem is this is one of those films where they could release a different version every year and I'm going to buy it. So to say that this is the last release I'll pick up would be a lie. And I'm sure a lot of people own multiple versions of Zombie Flesh Eaters. But it's just one of those movies I enjoy collecting for. Not just the physical media releases, but also the merchandise and, you know, just everything when it comes to the film. It's just iconic in its own right. And like I said, I enjoy, yeah, just seeing a nice stack of the same film. My wife thinks it's crazy, but it is what it is. Like I said, a lot of these you can still get quite cheap, so it's not breaking the bank or anything, but yeah, it's just a joy to collect for. And it's just the releases are getting better and better, so I'd love to see what comes next from Zombie. I know Blue Underground have announced recently a standard edition of their 4K or Blu-ray or something like that, so I might have to pick that up. And like I said, there's a few variants on that Blue Underground 3-discer that I would still like to collect, but it is only the slipcover that is different, so I'm not in a huge rush. But yeah, the ultimate would be the Vitco pre-cert, either the cut or uncut version. There's part of me that would prefer the cut version just because it's a bit more of a, you know, oddity. I can watch Zombie Flesh Eaters uncut on 4K, you know, so to have that cut version, and it's the cheaper option as well, would be quite nice. But yeah, I still a few editions I want to pick up. I want to pick up the UK VHS releases that came after the pre-cert. You can get those quite cheap. Terrible cover arts, but you know, I need them for the collection. I would like to get the Wizard Video US VHS. That's a lovely release. Again, iconic. But yeah, that is in terms of physical media, that is Zombie Flesh Eaters Zombie 2. And with merchandise, you know, it's getting better in terms of what's out there for the film. Like I said, this Death Waltz vinyl is stunning. Recently picked up that Ebon Press box set that Vinegar Syndrome published, which looks really nice. And that mask, obviously, had to grab that when that came out a few years back. There is a statue from Zombie, well, 2 statues that Trick or Treat Studios put out of the boat zombie and Wormface I would love to get. But yeah, it's a popular film, and you know, rightfully deserved, because it's a great film. My big plea now is a company like NECA or something have to release a ultimate edition of Wormface. I mean, that would be incredible. I'm still waiting for the ultimate figure from Zombie. It needs to be done. I mean, come on, it's the greatest zombie of all time. But yeah, that is Zombie Flesh Eaters. So, you know, I covered my thoughts and opinions, my experiences with the movie in the review section, which made it a lot longer than the usual videos, but again, this was a special episode, the big bumper episode, and I plan every 5 episodes. I have around 30 films that I want to cover from Fulci, and every 5 episodes I'll plan to do a bumper special, which you know, the videos be longer, a bit more in depth, slightly different to the usual ones, just for his more, you know, famous works. And again, I'm really happy that Zombie is the first one. So I hope you all enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed a look at the history of the physical media releases. And yeah, I will see you all for the next one. Take care. Have a good day.